Welcome to the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you're a fan of Mo3. Now, they just identified a second shooter in this whole case. Now, I want y'all to watch this video. I ain't gonna talk too much. This sad, man.
That viral freeway shooting we all saw was only half of the story, because some newly resurfaced footage just hit the internet, and it's looking like there was a second shooter involved in the setup that took Mo3's life. We've got actual receipts, and they are not looking good for a few folks. From mysterious Camaros to voices caught on camera, this clip is raising way more questions and making a lot of people real uncomfortable. So this fresh footage just dropped, and at first, everybody was saying there was only one shooter, the guy we saw chasing Mo3 on the freeway. But when you really look at how Mo3 was shot, it don't add up. Angle of the wounds look like they didn't come from behind. So now it's looking like there was a second shooter involved, and this new footage might just be the proof. Now, Mo3's manager Rainwater has been hinting at this for a while, saying there was more to the story. And if you've been watching the case closely, the courts even slid in a little tea. They said there are multiple people involved, not just the main guy we all saw.
And we all been saying this since the beginning. If you a fan of the Mo3 sector, you already know. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Y'all already know what happened. And y'all already know how many people was out there. And we already know who that girl was on that highway.
White, aka Banzo. Banzo himself been real cryptic too. He ain't snitching, but he told folks, one thing I know, I ain't do it. So now we really gotta make it make sense. All right, back to the footage. When Mo3 was being followed on the freeway, there was this other car filming everything, making jokes and mocking him. They wasn't just random people. Peep the back seat. Folks spotted license plates in there that could link to something bigger.
Right. Ooh, I hope they go left from game. You got a gun out? Go around.
In the clip, you hear them say, "Oh, he got a gun out." And they're talking like they already know what's about to go down. They're watching the Camaro, the same car Mo3 was being trailed by, and waiting for their cue. Like, it's clear these folks were coordinated. So Mo3 gets on I-35, and this is where everything unfolds. According to Rainwater, the car Mo3 was driving didn't stop on purpose. It stalled out. Why? Allegedly, the tires got shot, the engine was hit. It was all strategic. They wanted that man out the car and vulnerable, and it worked. And let's not forget, Mo3 had stopped at a gas station before all this, and that Camaro was there too. So these people weren't just catching up to him. They were following him the whole time, probably from the moment he left a woman's house that morning. Also, remember that these dudes in the car said stuff like, go around, he got a gun out, and, oh, he see us. They're hyped, they're locked in, and they're trying to maneuver around other cars to stay close to the Camaro. This wasn't no random incident. This was planned out. You can even hear the stress in their voices trying to catch up before something goes down. Think about this for a second. Why would Mo3 randomly stop his car on a busy freeway? He didn't. His car was shot up until it gave out. Then, when he ran, it wasn't just Banzo chasing him. He ran into somebody else, and that's likely who fired the fatal shots. The medical examiner even said the wounds don't match someone getting shot while being chased. Mo3 had his hands up, not because he was surrendering, but because he ran into the second shooter, face to face. This ain't speculation no more. The footage is real, and it's from folks in Dallas who were there, filming. The freeway was packed, people were playing Mo3's music, folks knew exactly what went down. A lot of the footage was allegedly wiped, but it's resurfacing now. And let's keep it real. If there were people throwing parties to celebrate after this happened, that just adds another dark layer to the whole thing. But one thing is for sure, and two are for certain. The Mo3 case is developing as we speak.
New at 4 now, still no public sighting of North Texas rapper Yellow Beezy after he bonded out of jail at 10 o'clock this morning. He's charged with capital murder in the 2020 death of Dallas rapper Mo3.
Almost 5 years after we lost Mo3, the cops locked up and are pointing fingers at none other than Yellow Beezy. They're saying he was the mastermind behind the whole thing, so let's break it down. It all went down. November 11th, 2020. Mo3 was driving up I-35 in Dallas just minding his business, when out of nowhere, a masked shooter pulls up. Mo3 tries to get out the car and run for his life, but he ends up getting hit multiple times right there on the freeway. Sadly, He didn't make it. And to make it even worse, a random bystander in another car got hit too, but thankfully survived. It was a straight-up highway hit. Broad daylight, packed roads, no escape. The whole thing had people like, who would even dare pull something like this? About a month later, police arrested a 22-year-old named Q White. He got picked up on a gun charge first, but then they hit him with a murder charge connected to Mo3's case. He pled guilty on the firearm part and started serving a 9-year sentence. But that charge is still hanging over his head. But that wasn't the end. Come April 2021, they snatched up another man, Devin Maurice Brown. Cops say Devin was out here hitting up witnesses, trying to get Mo3's location before the shooting.
I lost $50,000 because I didn't buy a domain name. My advice, head to Wix and grab yours now. It's quick and it can make all the difference. Here's why it matters. Back in 2019, I had
went down. Phone records even showed a bunch of calls between Devin and Q right before the hit. But Q tried to act like he didn't even know Devin. So by spring of 2021, we had 2 people tied to Mo3's, but no real motive had been pinned down. That's where the real tea started to bubble. Cause Mo3 and Yellow Beezy, they had real beef, and it ran deep. Now get this, almost 4 years after Devin's arrest, police finally came back around and said Yellow Beezy orchestrated the whole thing. According to new reports, he paid Q to carry out the ambush, and that's some serious conspiracy level stuff. Police are still being quiet about the full details, but come on, if you've been tapped into Dallas rap beefs, you already know this has been bubbling for years. The drama goes way back to when Mo3's homie Roy Lee was shot and killed back in 2018. Word on the street is, Roy Lee had disrespected Yellow Beezy by calling out his claim to Oak Cliff, one of the hottest hoods in Dallas. Some folks brushed it off, but others took that real personal. Roy Lee ended up getting shot at a shopping center and died from complications a little later. Then the day after Roy Lee passed, boom, Beezy gets hit in a drive-by. He survived, but it was clear things were getting messy.
So from what I understand, the car got hit up over a dozen times.
23 times.
23 times.
Yeah.
Did you look over and see?
I don't even, that's why I was telling people, I don't even remember me looking over.
Between all that, Mo3 and Beezy stayed throwing shots at each other in tracks and on socials. There was even an incident in early 2020 where Mo3's manager said Beezy and his crew jumped him outside a Dallas club. So when Mo3 was killed in November 2020, people had theories, but nothing was confirmed. And for years, Beezy wasn't even listed as a suspect. But now, in 2025, he's officially been arrested and charged, not just with, but capital. That means life without parole or the death penalty could be on the table. Now the crazy part is, both Mo3 and Yellow Beezy were rising stars and they had real potential in the game. But instead of leaving the street drama behind, this beef ended with one man dead and the other being accused of setting it up. So last week, when news dropped that Yellow Beezy got arrested and the fact that it was capital, that's the highest level charge you can catch in Texas, and we're talking life without parole or the death penalty if you're found guilty, so it's big. But here's the question. Why did it take 5 years to arrest him? Mo3 was murked back in 2020, and the alleged shooter was arrested pretty quick after. But Beezy just got picked up now? Well, here's the thing. Cases don't have a time limit. There's no statute of limitations. So the cops had time to build the case. They could take their time, interview folks, collect evidence, and really make sure they had the right person. That's actually pretty common. And when it comes to hip-hop beefs turning deadly like this, we're seeing more and more cases where the feds are using rappers' own words against them. Like with Lil Durk, Big U, and now Beezy. These dudes go on podcasts, say stuff in songs or interviews, maybe not outright confessing, but definitely saying enough to connect the dots. Cops and prosecutors are watching and taking notes, and when it's time to build a case, they'll pull up clips, lyrics, anything you said publicly. Once it's out there, it's all but fair game. Doesn't matter if it was years ago, it can still be used in court. It's like throwing something in the trash and thinking it's gone, but someone digs it up and boom, it's back. So yeah, in this digital age, folks really need to think twice before putting anything out there. It could come back later, for better or for worse. So here's the deal. If this thing with Yellow Beezy actually goes to trial, now, off rip, the defense is probably gonna try to flip the narrative. Like, they might bring up diss tracks, lyrics, social media posts, anything that can look like motive. Basically, anything that paints a picture of beef. But here's where it gets tricky. The arrest just happened. So even though Mo3 died back in 2020, this is still the early stage of the legal process. Beezy just got booked, and now his team and the prosecution are going through discovery, swapping evidence, reviewing files, seeing what cards each side is holding. After that, he can either take a deal or push it to trial depending on how strong the evidence is. And this is a capital for hire case. That means prosecutors are saying someone paid Beezy, or he had some kind of financial gain from setting it up. To convict him, the state's got to prove not just that he was involved, but that he benefited from it. That's a heavy claim. So Beezy's defense team are most likely gonna zero in on that. Like, how y'all gonna prove my client made money off this? Where's the gain? Because if they can't show he got anything out of it, that charge could fall apart. Now, folks are wondering, should Beezy testify for himself? Because if so, that's a big risk. Defense lawyers usually don't like putting their clients on the stand unless they have to. Because once he's up there, prosecutors can start digging into his past, his record, his lyrics, whatever else he said out loud, and that could backfire real quick. And let's say they do pull up song lyrics. Yeah, you can try to play the First Amendment card and argue it's just art. But if they got receipts, like money transfers, phone records, or text convos that link back to the hit, that's gonna be a whole different story. Now, what about the other two dudes that got charged in this case? Could they turn on Beezy? Absolutely. The DA can cut deals with them in exchange for snitching. Like, you testify against him, we'll cut down your sentence.
And now, this could be something that may end up eventually happening. I want everybody to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you're a fan of Mo3.